Thank you all so much for coming out this evening. And welcome to Diversity, 7 Voices on Race, Gender, Ability, and Class for FLOSS Software and the Internet. My name is Golan Levin. I'm the director of the Frank-Ratchye Studio for Creative Inquiry here at Carnegie Mellon University, and welcome on this Tuesday, May 26th, 2015, to this little symposium that we are co-hosting with the P5JS organization. P5JS, of course, is one of the major toolkits for open source arts engineering. Major, though, in spite of a very small number of people who are actually working on it. So, as part of the studio's desire to support the tools and techniques that make new forms of arts, particularly new media arts, possible, we applied for a grant from the National Foundation for the Arts to support the arts engineering toolkits. We received a small grant, and with it, we decided to invite the P5JS organization to have its first contributors conference here this year. And so the P5JS folks, there's about 25 or 30 of them, are gathering in the Studio for Creative Inquiry this week to push forth on the latest version of the P5JS software, which will have great repercussions, enabling thousands, perhaps even tens of thousands of other artists around the world and designers to create new kinds of work. So I just want to sort of thank our sponsors before I introduce Lauren, who's the founder of the P5JS organization. As I mentioned, I'm Golan Levin from the Frank-Ratchye Studio for Creative Inquiry, and some funds from the Frank-Ratchye Fund for Arts at the Frontier have helped support tonight's event. But also, the bulk of our funding is from the National Endowment for the Arts, Arts Works, and Artist Communities programs. This event was also made possible by generous support from the NYU Interactive Telecommunications Program, the Processing Foundation, a company called The Artificial in the Netherlands, Bocoup, Darius Kazemi, and the Emergent Digital Practices Department at the University of Denver in Colorado. With that, I'd like to introduce Lauren McCarthy, who is the founder of the P5JS organization and its spiritus rector, as she talks a bit about where we're going. Thank you.
Cool. I'll take Phoenix off the big screen for a moment.
Thank you.
Cool. All right. Thanks, Golan. So when we started conceiving of this idea, Golan challenged me to think about how this panel would relate specifically to P5JS. And for me, it was kind of a no-brainer. So this project started 2 years ago when I'd been feeling like I really wanted to give back to the open source community, but I didn't know where to begin. I felt like the barriers were really high, and I wasn't sure I was even welcome. And so talking to Casey one time about this, I mentioned that I wished I could do something about this kind of lack of diversity in open source, but I didn't know what, and I felt like I wasn't ready to be an activist or have a big plan or to lead some kind of big project. And he suggested, well, maybe I didn't need to have a big plan, but if the opportunity arose, I could just be one more woman contributing and start with that. And so I did. When a couple weeks later, the Processing Foundation approached me with the opportunity to be a fellow. And my job was to spend a couple months exploring the idea of processing on the web. At the time, I certainly didn't envision a group of 30 talented artists, designers, programmers, activists, and writers descending on CMU for a week. But here we are, and this is pretty exciting. And the Processing Foundation took a chance on me. I think that's what it comes down to. I didn't know JavaScript well when I started this project 2 years ago. Despite being a TA for the processing class, I didn't really know processing that well either. And I certainly didn't know anything much about creating an open source tool or helping to build a community. But the Processing Foundation supported my desire to learn. And this effort has been further supported by organizations like ITP, Friends at Bocoup, the Studio for Creative Inquiry here, and all of you and a lot of others that have been learning along with me. So I think that that's the spirit that I'm hoping to capture here this week. For me, thinking about community outreach And diversity is not a secondary goal of P5JS, it's the foundation on which the platform is built. And so I hope tonight and this week we can better understand what we could do to make P5 more accessible for broader audiences, to make new people feel welcome and empowered, and to give everyone that is interested the chance that I had to learn, to lead, and to create. So now, to moderate the panel, I'd like to introduce Maya Mann. We also have programs, if you didn't get one, they're on the stands back there. We're not going to read bios before each speaker, so you can kind of look them up there. And I just wanted to say a big thank you to the people here and the people joining us remotely. We're so grateful to have all your opinions and perspectives. Thanks.